TVC Sport Desk.
The appointment of Eric Chelle as the new substantive head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria continues to generate debate among football fans, pundits, and players alike. What can Nigerians expect from the new manager in terms of playing style and, more importantly, getting the much-needed results to turn around the fortunes of the team in the quest to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Lots of questions that will be answered in the coming months. Welcome, folks, to the midweek edition of TVC Sports Desk. I'm Samson Olede. Coming up on the show this evening, reactions trailed the appointment of experienced gaffer Eric Chelle as new Super Eagles manager. Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon score as Newcastle United take commanding lead over Arsenal in League Cup semi-final.
Isak, back to Murphy.
And in the world of basketball, LeBron James, Los Angeles Lakers suffer shock blowout loss to undermanned Dallas Mavericks. These and much more make up the show this evening.
TVC Sport Desk.
Thanks for staying tuned. Welcome once again to the midweek edition of the show. Let's begin with the biggest news coming out from football, especially the continent of Africa, and that has to do with the Nigerian Football Federation appointing Eric Chelle as the head coach of the Super Eagles. The 47-year-old was recommended for the job by the NFF Technical and Development Subcommittee on January 2nd. He is the first non-Nigerian African to be named the head coach of the Eagles. Chelle was Mali's head coach at the African Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire and led the team to the quarterfinal, where the country lost to the host in extra time. Chelle's appointment takes effect immediately as he will manage the team at the 2024 African Nations Championship, otherwise known as CHAN. After the CHAN tournament, he is to guide the Super Eagles to earn a ticket to the 2026 FIFA World Cup finals. Nigeria are currently 5th in Group C of the qualifiers. The team is also winless after 4 games. Let's take you back to Eric Chelle's last match with the Malian team at the African Cup of Nations.
It was the man you wanted to go to. Trying to work an angle for the cross. Onto the left he goes, swung in. Oh, there's a cross to face a goal. Almost an own goal. Bit of movement as well. Over all of them headed away. Comes to Fafana. Low down and it's in the back of the net. And Ivory Coast has surely won it. Extraordinary scenes. They played with 10 men for well over an hour. And right at the end, with seconds to go, he's blown for full time. And Ivory Coast have won the most dramatic of quarterfinals. Mali won. The Africa Cup of Nations hosts Cote d'Ivoire 2.
Interesting, everyone, right there. What can Nigerians expect from Eric Chelle? That's the big news, or that's the big question on the lips of so many football fans and players alike. Now, joining us live from his base in England is football administrator and coach David Doherty. David, good evening. It's good to have you on the show.
Thompson, thank you very much for having me.
Let's delve into this as quickly as we can. Eric Chelle, the man for the job. Is that the right direction or the right decision by the Nigerian Football Federation, by your own estimation?
For me, I think the decision is something that NFF will be the one to take. I'm not going to sit here and tell them what not to do. They've taken the decision. The technical department have done so. But the question is that Nigerians, or I mean in general, I've got so much question asking about his CVs and things that he has done and all that. But I think, decent wise, when it comes to the national team, I think it's not too bad. Yeah, in terms of going forward, maybe it would then, maybe add value. But are we as a nation, patient enough for that? I think the main assignment is the World Cup, where we are as we speak. And is he the right man to do that? I think that will boil down to the support he gets from the players. If you can have the players, right behind him, and then the NFF not having to interfere with what the young man, wants to do, then I think we should, at least give him, some support and see where we go from there.
Okay. Again, the debates would always rage concerning don't we have enough home-based or domestic-based coaches to look into and to look towards the rather when it comes to the managerial role of the Super Eagles. Do you think that this, within that context of that debate, would have been the best decision, especially when you take into cognizance the usual factor or criteria of financial, muscle from the NFF in terms of paying the coach?
Having to look at, coaches that we have, our indigenous coaches, I think, yeah, the question is, do we have anyone as we speak that is currently active or anyone that has that pro license that, is God? I think we do. We do have, not just for me, if I'm talking about indigenous coaches, I don't just look at those back home. I also want to look at those that are outside the shores of Nigeria, but they're Nigerians because that's where Eric comes into play here. Eric is French of Malian descent, so to Nigerian Football Federation, yeah, he's a foreign coach because he's not a Nigerian. So, well, for them, not looking away from those that we have back home or those in context, the what do you call it, the indigenous coaches, and they decide to go for Eric. They have their reasons, and I think they should also be ready. And I think Eric will also be ready, maybe this time around to get a tank of water because the other time I think it's just a cup of water that he's got. But with Nigeria, I think the pressure will be a lot, and I hope he's ready to do that. But for me, the only thing I just want to say is, yeah, Eguavon has done not too bad because he's got the support of the players. If he remains there, can he still? But the problem with Eguavon is that having to juggle both the technical, department and coaching. I think it's best for him to tell us where he wants to sit. But do we have other coaches? Absolutely, we do. That can as well take the job forward.
Okay, let's get the thoughts of a player who has once donned the green and white jerseys of the Super Eagles and who understands what it means to play under a new manager. Peter Ijeh, former Super Eagles midfielder, joins us from his base in Sweden. Peter, good evening. It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Okay, what do you make of the appointment, and do you think it's the right decision in terms of the tactical knowledge that the coach will bring into the fold of the Super Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, every change is welcome, in this dispensation of time of football. The technical department, has made their decision of appointing Eric, as the Super Eagles, custodian. So, I mean, I believe before his appointment, they have vet, his qualifications and see how they can help out in making it work. So, I mean, so the waiting period is over. Now the dice are cast. So we want to see, what is bringing to the table for the Eagles.
The issue of discipline is one that is oftentimes referred to, and when folks favor a foreign coach over a domestic-based coach, that you would have the players, respect the foreign-based coach more. As an ex-international yourself, do you think with Eric Chelle, the Super Eagles won't have issues when it comes to disciplinary concerns in the team?
Yeah, when it comes to professional level, respect is reciprocal. It's what you give is what you take. In as much as there's no interference, they give him free hand, to make decisions. They don't decide tactics for him. Of course, he will be in charge. But when there's an external force, forcing him to do what he don't want to do, or maybe some administrators, standing behind the players, then is a problem. So I believe, if they give him a free hand, definitely that is what every coach, want, to have a free hand and also work independently.
Okay, let me come back to you, David. Let's look at his stats now. They're talking about his managerial statistics. Definitely not, mind blowing when it comes to the top leagues, but in terms of what he did with the Malian Football Federation, you can definitely say that he is one of the top shots at this point in time in African football that was available. Looking at statistics, managerial statistics, do you think this is a good omen for Nigeria at this point in time?
Like I said, I've already said this before. I said if you look at his club, history or journey, you wouldn't, get, you know, too too excited. But if you come back to the last AFCON and see what he actually did with that, set of players that you have there, the talents that you have there in Mali compared to Nigeria, then you might want to have a rethink and look at things in a different way and say, well, yeah, at this stage, young coaches are coming into the fold. Yeah, they're the one taking the show, they're taking the mantle as we speak. So I think it's worth for us to give him a chance and see what he is definitely going to bring to table, just like Coach EJ has just alluded to.
Okay, Peter, finally, let me get your thoughts concerning the team because it's also beyond the manager right now. The players also need to show up match day in, match day out to ensure that we qualify for the FIFA 2026 World Cup that will be taking place for the first time across three nations, the United States of America, Mexico, and Canada. What do you expect going forward now that that vacuum has been filled in terms of the vacant managerial role for quite some time? What next for the team by your own estimation?
Yeah, by my own estimation, we all know Nigeria have the talent, but talent without work, I mean, it will not work. You know, bringing in an handler now, I believe before they will have vet his qualifications and know if he knows all the players, both the foreign-based players and also the old-based players. Does he have the tactical and the technical proficiency to take the team forward? Not only the team, because the job of a trainer is not only looking at the team as a whole. It's also looking at player development, individual development. How can a player be be more uh, be more giving in every game. It depends on the formation is bringing. So of course, yeah, Nigeria have talent. We know that, but how to put those puzzles together, that has been the missing link. So I believe with his inclusion now, maybe it's bringing a different leadership ideology, you know, which the technical department believe will work. So we just wait and see. But
Okay,
of course, the World Cup is important. You know, we'll see how it goes.
okay. Finally, David, let's turn our attention to the decision by the Nigerian Football Federation that he will also be the coach for the Chan Eagles. Does this help in terms of developmental football, especially tapping into the domestic players and the talents we have there to see if one or two of them can make the Super Eagles fold? Is this the right decision by the Nigerian Football Federation?
Yeah, I don't think it's the right decision. Having to handle Chan side does not give you the full detail about the way football the way football happens in Nigeria in terms of development and all that. It's far beyond that, and I think this is one thing we've also been talking about to NFF, that we need a structure that will allow us to then develop our football from grassroots. And that was one of the things that actually led us to, having to create to have an NGO called the Nigerian Youth Football Association, whereby we can have all these things all merged together: schools, community, academies, down to we need to sort out our foundation. It's the foundation that needs to be put together. If there is structure in place in that angle, the work having to go up does not need for us to have a coach that does not really understand, the Nigerian terrain and easily just coming straight now to then, put a workload on him to say, hey, we've got talents here in Chan because of a tournament. I think that approach is more of a tournament-based type, not the developmental part of football, which is where our problem continues to be. And we need to do better than that.
Okay, gentlemen, we'll just have to call it a day right now, and we'll definitely continue with the debate concerning the Super Eagles' new manager and how the team goes forward, especially in the quest for World Cup football come 2026. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. We'll take a breather right about now. When we return, there's still more to talk about, especially Nigerian football.
TVC Sport Desk. TV